Listen, I am definitely of the opinion, that we should have some DEI hires in this administration. You know, the ones that definitely earned it, because clearly we've got a bunch of incompetent fools that are trying to run our country, and actually they are running our country. They're running it straight into the ground.
As much as Trump and Republicans hate to accept it, we are still a country with laws. And when you break them,
Jasmine Crockett is fully unleashed as she goes off on JD Vance and the Trump administration. The lies? Yeah, they've crossed the line. And when the truth is on the line, Jasmine doesn't play nice. She brings the fire. It's not always pretty, but it's definitely entertaining. Think politics couldn't get any wilder? Think again. Watch as she drops truth bombs that'll make you question everything you thought you knew. Jasmine
The lack
Crockett.
of cohesiveness on that side is why this has been the most unproductive Congress. People all over X and everything is like, well, they don't deserve anything. They're so unproductive. Let me tell you, the people that y'all keep putting in charge are the reason that we are unproductive, because they don't understand how to govern. And honestly, they don't even have a will to govern. And the fact that they are allowing somebody who basically is a shadow president to come out and tell them what to do, including Donald Trump, because listen, we know that Elon, as they have touted about how they need to get rid of the immigrants. Let me be clear. Elon cannot become president of the United States because he is an immigrant who has gained U.S. citizenship later on in life. So he's not qualified to be, or he's not allowed to be under our Constitution. So instead, he decided that he was going to buy a president. And right now,
didn't just go off on JD Vance and the Trump administration. She obliterated them. When it comes to calling out lies and untangling the political mess, Jasmine is leading the charge with enough fury to power a small city. And trust me, she didn't hold anything back. No one's safe when Jasmine Crockett has the mic, especially not JD Vance, the guy who probably spends more time in Ohio than in the reality of his own thoughts. And then there's the ever-volatile Trump administration, a circus where the clowns aren't funny, and the lions might just eat you for dinner. But this isn't just about JD Vance.
FBI. But my concerns as ranking member of this subcommittee, as a member of Congress, and as an attorney, as well as a citizen, are based on things called facts. And when I say facts, I mean clear, indisputable facts, not those alternative facts my Republican colleagues continue pushing onto
his heart for thinking he holds any real political weight. No, this is about something much bigger. Donald Trump's delightful chaos, which has somehow seeped into every corner of American life, from his Twitter tantrums to his complete inability to speak without sounding like he's auditioning for America's Got Talent Disaster Edition. This man has turned political discourse into a joke, and somehow, every time he opens his mouth, the nation holds its breath, bracing for what's coming next. Spoiler alert, it's rarely good.
And I'm tired of it, because I didn't come to this chamber to play games. I came to this chamber to answer to the people, the American people, and to make sure that we keep the American people safe. And if we don't get something done, as they talk about the border, I do want to be clear, the only reason we haven't gotten funding for the border is because they killed, the House Republicans here, killed the bill that they actually sent us from the Senate side. If they want to do some work, let me tell you something, the Democrats are ready, and it seems like the Senate Republicans are ready.
If you're enjoying this, don't forget to subscribe. Jasmine Crockett steps into the mess like a lioness on a mission. She doesn't just take on JD Vance, she drags Trump and his entire circus of lies, gaslighting, and political nonsense into the ring. Let's be real, Trump is the kind of guy with more skeletons in his closet than a haunted house. The difference? His skeletons don't even bother trying to hide. Here's a fun fact. Trump doesn't need a strategy. He's just out here living his...
Let's just do a quick evaluation. I mean, when we look at Rudy Giuliani, I know that Rudy Giuliani has lost everything from his law license to his money to his dignity. Heck, he was even losing his hair dye, okay? Like, he has lost everything along with any other lawyer that's ever associated with him. And so now we get to JD Vance when he picks a VP running mate. And he also picked another loser, right? Like, because now the single cat ladies are coming for their ticket. Like, I mean, this guy is a loser. And I just need America to step up one more time and remind him, just like they reminded him 4 years ago, that he's a loser.
Life like it's a reality show where every week brings a new surprise. I'm going to do something else that makes zero sense. That's the guy Jasmine Crockett had to deal with. She doesn't just gently tap on his administration's failed attempts at governing. No, she punches it in the face with the grace of a wrecking ball. The moment Jasmine calls out Trump, you know it's about to go down. It's like the ultimate showdown between someone who's ready to tell it like it is and someone who thinks stringing random words together counts as having a policy. So, what does Trump do when faced with the truth? He pulls out his usual playbook. Deny, deflect, and pretend like nothing ever happened. But Jasmine? She's not having it. She's ready to take those lies and turn them into confetti.
Each of you knows enough to know that at the end of the day, it is citizens that sit on a grand jury that are the ones that decide whether or not evidence exists to go forward with an indictment. And ultimately, when this president was convicted by a jury on the state level, it was a jury.
Let's start with the Trump administration's glorious history of, well, not actually doing anything, but causing chaos. Remember when Trump tried to pretend he was this big champion of the working class? It's almost like he mistook the job of president for being the CEO of a failed reality show. His promises were as empty as his grasp of basic economics. Did he deliver jobs? Sure, but not for the people who actually needed them. He handed out tax cuts for the rich and called it a victory for the little guy, which, if you think about it, is like giving a starving man a cookie and calling it dinner. Enter Jasmine Crockett with the cold, hard facts. She calls out this nonsense like a teacher in a classroom full of delusional students who think they know everything about history but can't name a single president besides Trump. She lays it out, pointing out that, no, Trump didn't actually.
I can tell you one thing that is crumbling for the city of D.C. was that continuing resolution that defunded approximately $1 billion from them, but I will focus on today's hearing. The Republicans' recklessness and chaotic approach to reducing the size of government has shown us what we've already known. Concepts of a plan don't work. It's not just going to be Democrats who miss out on Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security, or only Democratic veterans who will miss out on their VA benefits. Their approach will negatively impact all Americans. So it's unfortunate that Republicans have taken a seemingly bipartisan issue and included it as part of their scam to subsidize tax giveaway for billionaires. They haven't proposed anything that will improve the efficiency of the government. Instead, they have put the country on a path to a recession and implemented the largest tax increase on Americans in decades through Trump's tariffs. This hearing is their latest attempt to try to convince the American people that dismantling public-facing agencies will somehow improve government efficiency. Let me tell you.
Help the middle class. In fact, if you're part of the middle class, Trump probably thinks you're one of those people who can't even figure out how to properly fold a fitted sheet, and therefore, your problems aren't worth fixing. But hey, he's throwing some money at the wealthiest people in the country, so that should solve everything, right? Jasmine's not buying it, and neither should you. Anyone who's followed Trump for more than 5 minutes knows that the man can't handle a crisis without looking like he's juggling flaming swords while blindfolded. It's almost as if his entire response was a big episode of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Except instead of $1 million, the prize was a global health disaster. Trump's solution to the pandemic? Naturally, he downplayed it until it was far too late. If there were a contest for the most avoidant behavior in a leadership role, he'd win by a landslide. And let's not forget, this is
Talking to Congress every single day. You know why I don't feel a way and why you can't make me doubt who I am? Is because I know that I had to work 10 times as hard as they did just to get into the seat. When you look and you compare me to Marjorie Taylor Greene or me to Lauren Boebert, there is no comparison. And that is the life that we have always lived. So the only people that are crying are the mediocre white boys that have been beaten out by people that historically have had to work so much harder. This is why they don't want us to have education. This is why they are trying to literally say we won't fund the HBCUs, because they know that if they've already gone after affirmative action and they're saying, you know what, don't allow them to come into, say, these PWIs, as we call them, don't allow them to come into these institutions. We know why they created the HBCUs in the first place. It was because they wouldn't allow us into the white...
Same guy who suggested we just drink bleach. Because of course, what could possibly go wrong with that advice? Oh, JD Vance. Remember when he was practically the poster child for political confusion? He couldn't decide if he was on Team Red or Team Blue. But what he did know was that he couldn't stand Donald Trump. When JD decided to throw his hat in the ring and take down Trump, it was like watching a toddler throw a tantrum at a fancy dinner. No punches were pulled. JD went full throttle, calling out the orange man like he'd just discovered the internet's worst Twitter feed. Trump was the villain in JD's comic book, a walking, talking stain on the Republican Party, the very reason America was in trouble. JD didn't just disagree with Trump lightly. He went straight for the jugular, calling him a charlatan and a dangerous figure. And honestly, it felt like JD was waving a flag that read, "Look at me, guys. I'm not part of that crazy circus." It was like he was yelling, "I swear I'm the only sane one in the room." Totally not one of them. But JD didn't stop at calling Trump a joke. Oh no, he took it up a notch. He called Trump's rhetoric toxic, and let's be real. Toxic in politics is like using the word haunted to describe a house. It's the kind of word that leaves a lasting mark. JD didn't just think Trump was bad at policy. He acted like the guy was single-handedly destroying political discourse with a wrecking ball of chaos. JD couldn't resist taking a jab at the whole "Make America Great Again" mantra, practically scoffing at it as a slogan catering to America's darkest corners. And boy, did he roast it. He went all in, painting Trump supporters as people trapped in a delusional time warp, desperately clinging to a version of America that existed only in their heads. It was like he was calling them out for living in a sepia-toned fantasy while he tried to squeeze into oversized political boots that clearly didn't fit. Hold up.
And my biggest problem with Trump, I mean, and there are many, many things to pick out, but my biggest problem with Trump is that his message to the right, especially the white working class of which I came from, is anti-conservative.
I'm a never Trump guy. I never liked him. And I've noticed this willingness from people who think a lot like I do that, look, we told you so. To all these white working class voters, we told you so.
Jasmine Crockett wasn't having any of it. She didn't just sit back and watch. She hit hard, tearing apart the pretentiousness and outright lies. How can a man who once called Trump a bad person suddenly team up with him as vice president? Jasmine laid down the truth, pointing out how the administration's failure to act cost thousands of lives. This wasn't just a misstep. It was a level of incompetence only possible if you think your daily grind is about crafting tweets instead of actually running a country. But hey, Trump's got a golden toilet to help him scrub away the guilt, right? Then there's the economic chaos Trump left behind. Here's a guy so obsessed with his brand that he probably thinks selling himself is the same as creating real, sustainable jobs. Spoiler alert, it's not.
Go.
So here's the point. We have people in this chamber that are actually causing just as much a threat, if not more of a threat, to our own country. We should be talking about holding our very own accountable for the misinformation and disinformation that they are spreading, whether it's coming out of China, whether it's coming out of Russia, or whoever is peddling it. It is a problem because right now what we see is that people are dying and we cannot get the support that we need from the public because they continue to peddle lies. And I'm tired of...
Jasmine doesn't just call out his tax cuts for the rich or his cozy relationship with Wall Street. She calls him out for turning a national crisis into a joke. Meanwhile, the average American worker is left holding the bag while Trump throws a party with his billionaire friends. But what's new?